What's up, everyone, and welcome to ClearTalk. So in this video we're going to be talking about updating all the stuff, updating stuff about the Middle East and everything in lieu of, us being a year now into um this total mess. Anyways, that's being nice. So we're going to talk about all the stuff going on currently and kind of get caught up on that. So, thank you very much for joining. If you're liking the content here, consider subscribing, like, share, all that good stuff. And if you would, check out my other channels. Um, JM Drummer there. We got a lot of reactions going on over there, growing the channel pretty decently now. I am working on another cover as well. That should be up before long. Hopefully, I can get it done within the next week. JMDPLAY there for the video games, and then of course the Discord there, one-time donations, or you can do JMD Nation for $3 a month up there, and Patreon. So thank you for anything you do, help with, or support in any kind of way. It's much appreciated. So all right. So what we have recently, what we were talking, I guess where we left off on over there was kind of the Iranian response, the attack that they did on Israel with the 180 missiles. Um, since then, we were waiting on an Israeli attack, or something, some type of retaliation. But so far, they have held off on anything towards Iran, anyways. They have continued to do their operations in Lebanon and in Gaza. The Gaza stuff has even sort of increased a little bit, even though that's kind of not even being talked about because so much focus is on Lebanon that kind of Gaza is being kind of ignored at this point. But there's still a lot of attacks being done there. A lot of even today there was people, you know, um, being told to evacuation notices and stuff in northern Gaza. And in southern Gaza, so either they're doing more operations up in Jabalia camp, I think is what it is, or something like that, up in the north of Gaza, which is kind of where they started initially when they went into Gaza, and that has so they've had operations going on there because they at one point had this said and they established control of North Gaza, but since they went to the south, you had Hamas sort of creep back up in the north, and sort of they're saying that they have got new kind of posts and stuff up there, so they're going back to the north again, and they're doing their targets to Hamas. But there has been a lot of targets dropped, especially I think even over this past weekend there was like an attack done or a series of attacks done in different areas where I think around want to say it was somewhere between 40 and 60 people were killed. I mean, these are like numbers that you know, it, I guess people have just gotten numb to because it's you were getting, and that's even excessive for what had been going on. So, um, and then they also have some evacuation stuff going on in Khan Yunis again. So pushing people, relocating people that have been relocated over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So this is just a continued thing in Gaza. You have stuff coming out, all over. Uh, still have rampant, you know, hunger and stuff not getting in, uh, diseases, things that are not uh, uh, I mean, there's just reporting of all kinds of stuff going on. As a matter of fact, there was a letter that, and I've got right here. I'm gonna pull up. Let me swap over real quick. So here's a letter that was presented or sent to Biden and Harris, the Biden Harris, you know, uh, administration, from like 99 American physicians, surgeons. It says here physicians, surgeons, practice, nurse practitioners, nurses, and midwives who have volunteered in the Gaza Strip since October 7th. Um, and they created this document, kind of listing out all these different things that were going on in Gaza, that they had concerns for and things that needed to be addressed and all that kind of stuff, kind of showing the severity of things that are going on in Gaza. And they all signed it, and was presenting this to them. So it says, combined, we have spent 254 weeks volunteering in Gaza's hospitals and clinics. We work with various non governmental organizations and the World Health Organization and hospitals and clinics throughout the Strip. In addition to our medical and surgical expertise, many of us have public health background as well as experience working in humanitarian and conflict zones, including Ukraine during the brutal Russian invasion. Some of us are veterans and reservists. We are a multi faith and multi ethnic group. None of us support the horrors committed on October 7th, but Palestinian armed groups and individuals in Israel. Uh, the Constitution of the World Health Organization states the health of all people are fundamental to the attainment of peace and security and is dependent on the fullest operations of individuals and states. It is in this spirit that we write to you, in this open letter. So they are. This is that's what this basically is. Addressing the stuff in. They have like highlighted sections that I'm pretty much going to go from here on. It's kind of like the things that I guess they are considering the most important information, or what they want to stress. That this letter is appendix showing uh, probative evidence that the human toll in uh, Gaza since October is far higher than is understood in the United States. It is likely that the death toll from this conflict is already greater than 118,908, an astonishing 5.4% of Gaza's population. So the what's being reported by the Gaza Health Administration is like 41, 42,000. That's like only bodies that have been actually like identified, like they know who they are and they've identified them to a name. But what is the issue is that there is a whole lot of dead bodies that have not been able to be identified. On top of that, you still have a wide unknown number of people who are still under rubble or whatever and haven't been found. And then on top of that, you also have a lot there's an unknown amount of people who quite literally were just disintegrated by the bombings. Like there is no remnants evidence of them. There's no telling how many of the bodies that are like that, where you know because of the impact or whatever, they were just completely just annihilated. Um, but these are, I'm assuming they're going off of kind of like what they know as far as the people that they've operated on, the people that they maybe even they have kept a record of that they know died within this period of time, that may not have been identified, but they know they're dead, like there's dead bodies. This is probably what this record is. I would assume. um A ceasefire must be imposed on the warring parties by withholding military support for Israel and supporting an international arms embargo on Israel and all Palestinian armed groups. With only marginal exceptions, everyone in Gaza is sick, injured, or both. This includes every national aid worker, every international volunteer, and probably every Israeli hostage, every man, woman, and child. Sorry. So, this basically saying that, there's because of all the sickness, they've got, uh, well, it continues on later on. In Gaza, we watched malnourished mothers feed their underweight newborns infant formula with made from poisonous water. We can never forget that the world abandoned these innocent women and babies. Israel's continued repeated displacement of the malnourished and sick population of Gaza, half of whom are children, to areas without running water or even toilets available is absolutely shocking. Um, and Yeah, they're saying we urge you to realize the epidemics that are raging in Gaza. I mean, there's so many. It's like this practitioner here, every day I saw babies die. They had been born healthy. Their mothers were so malnourished that they could not breastfeed, and we lacked formula or clean water to feed them, so they starved. Right? Uh, One up here, I've never seen such horrific injuries on such a massive scale with so few resources. Our bombs are cutting down women and children by the thousands. Their mutilated bodies are a monument of cruelty, to cruelty. Uh, this is a general surgeon, veteran affairs, general trauma, critical care surgeon, veterans affairs, general surgeon. Sidwa. And the other one here is Ashma Taha, I guess, maybe. Um, Another one here, orthopedic and hand surgeon. Gaza was the first time I held a baby's brains in my hand. The first of many. That's that's wild. Children are universally considered innocent in armed conflicts. However, every single signatory to this law letter saw children in Gaza who suffered violence that must have been deliberately directed at them. Specifically, every one of us who worked in an emergency intensive care or surgical setting treated preteen children who were shot in the head or chest on a regular or even daily basis. It is impossible to that such widespread shooting of young children throughout Gaza, sustained over the course of an entire year, is accidental or unknown to the highest Israeli civilian and military authorities. President Biden and President Harris, we wish you could see the nightmares that plague so many of us since we have returned. Dreams of children maimed and mutilated by our weapons and their inconsolable mothers begging us to save them. We wish you could hear the cries and screams our consciousness will not let us forget. We cannot fathom why you continue arming the country that is deliberately killing these children in mass. That's powerful. That is powerful. I saw so many stillborns and maternal deaths that could have been easily prevented if the hospitals had been functioning normally. This is an obstetrician and a gynecologist. The pregnant and breastfeeding women who were we treated were particularly malnourished. Those of us who worked with pregnant women regularly saw stillbirths, and maternal deaths that were easily preventable in any developing country's healthcare system. Women underwent vaginal deliveries and even C-sections without anesthesia, and were giving nothing but Tylenol afterwards because no other pain medications were available. Israel has destroyed many, more than half of Gaza's healthcare resources and has killed nearly 1,000 Palestinian healthcare workers, more than more than one out of every 20 healthcare workers in Gaza. At the same time, healthcare needs have increased massively from the lethal combination of military violence, malnutrition, disease, and displacement. These observations and the publicly available material detailed in the appendix led us to believe that the death toll from this conflict is many times higher than what is reported by the Gaza Ministry of Health. We also believe this is uh, probative evidence of widespread violations of Americans' laws, governing the use of American weapons abroad and on international humanitarian law. We cannot forget scenes of unbearable cruelty directed at women and children that our government is a direct participant in. We quickly learned that our Palestinian healthcare colleagues were among the most traumatized people in Gaza and perhaps in the entire world. All are acutely aware that their work as healthcare providers have marked them as targets for Israel. That makes a mockery of the protected status hospitals healthcare providers are granted under the oldest and most widely accepted provisions of international humanitarian law. The 199 signatures in this letter spent a combined 256 weeks in the Gaza largest hospitals. We wish to in clinics. We wish to be absolutely clear. No, not once did any of us see any type of Palestinian militant activity in any of Gaza's hospitals or other healthcare facilities. We urge you to see that Israel is systematically and deliberately devastating Gaza's entire healthcare system, and that Israel has targeted our colleagues in Gaza for torture, disappearance, and murder. That is something else. And these are the signatures. It's a whole list of signatures. But that shows the cruelty that has went on in Gaza over the past year. So while on this, year, um, you know, anniversary where Israel's continuing to argue that they need to continue doing this work. They're continuing arguing that they are going after Hamas, that they're going after Hezbollah, going after all these different ones. And you've got the same stuff happening in Lebanon right now. They're indiscriminately dropping bombs all over Lebanon, killing more and more people, displacing more and more people, hitting hospitals. I mean, this is the same kind of stuff. They have now taken over. They've now taken over southern Lebanon up to the what is it? Alini or Ilini, whatever river. That was, the section that Hezbollah kind of had a mainstay in. They've done completely taken over that area and are now asking for people north of that river, because that was supposed to be the space that, according to UN law, was supposed to be a barrier between Hezbollah and them. But Hezbollah had all that section. They had sort of ignored that law and was taking all that area and right up on the border. So that was the idea. They were going to take all of that and create that border there. And now they're telling people north of the river to evacuate. So apparently they have decided they're going to take even more area. And this is this is ongoing. This is something that Israel has been talking about for a long time. This is not the first time that they have done this to Lebanon. That's the reason why Hezbollah grew in the first place, and to come out of the Lebanese people as resistance against their occupation back in the 80s. That eventually, over a decade, wind up pushing them out because of their growing resistance and strength, and started being, supported by Iran. And it helped them grow into the point that they eventually was able to push Israel out by like 2000. And they become the major military force in Lebanon, even bigger and stronger than the Lebanese army. But this time, Israel has been able to strategically take out leaders and attack, um, do major attacks on them to the point that they're kind of at this point sort of dismantled a little bit, and uh, in ways that they didn't expect. But in doing all that, they have killed regular people. Dropping bunker buster bombs all around South Beirut indiscriminately just to kill a leader. They've dropped 80 something bombs. They just the past couple of days been trying to find and kill the new leader or the new to be leader. I'm not sure that he's actually completely taken the spot yet, but there was already like someone that was known to take the spot, and they were already trying to go after him. But this is all a land grab. They want to take parts of Lebanon. They've already taken parts of Syria. That's what Trump helped them take. Annex. They're continuously trying to uh, take more and more of the West Bank. We already know that the bombing of Gaza is for them. They're little by little going to try to take it. That's what they've been doing all along. And they don't care who they kill because they've completely dehumanized everybody around them. They do not look at uh, any Arab or whatever, as a human, as an equal. They want them gone. They want them eliminated, and because they so called are a threat to them. But who's the one that's has the defenses that were helped established by the U.S. that they have all kinds of anti missile systems and everything to help prevent stuff from hitting. That's the reason why they've had minimal impacts. But outside of what Iran shot at them, which I find interesting, and I don't understand probably why they haven't completely went straight back at Iran yet either. Because Hezbollah hadn't shot anything at them that overpowered their systems. It took Hamas over 2,000 missiles to overtake it on October 7th. And only a few of those actually overtook and hit. And they were minuscule bombs anyway. They didn't do much damage. But Iran shoots 180. And you've had a handful of those actually penetrate through and hit military targets. And that's what they were shooting at, was military targets. They hit one particular base that was a U.S. joint Israeli base where they get, weapons and stuff from U.S. It was strategic. Now, Israel is arguing that they want to hit their oil sources and or nuclear locations in Iran. The U.S. has pushed back on it, supposedly. But we've also have evidence showing that the U.S. Behind the scenes, actually, some members of the administration were pushing for them to invade and pushing for them to go into Lebanon. We've even uh, well, although I did see today apparently some Iraqi resistance groups shot some missiles or um, drone a mixture of some drones and missiles at Israel, and they are saying that a couple of them actually made contact. I think those were mostly shot at the Golan Heights area that made contact, which is the area that they've annexed uh, in Syria. Uh, so those are probably not really protected. I don't think too much by their uh, Iron Dome or anything. Uh, but this is what we've come to. Um, it is a heightened situation. Israel will not stop. Biden doesn't seem to give a shit. You've got the Defense Department and uh, uh, that is, arguably pushing back, saying that you don't need to do what or allow what's happening to happen, but the administration doesn't care. Biden continues to give them the okay. I mean, you got some people thinking that he's actually trying to ruin um, Kamala's chances at winning. Because, I mean, clearly Netanyahu doesn't care. He's just doing what he wants. You had Macron, the, you know, whatever president of France, come out saying that are urging for arms to be an arms embargo on Israel. That they, saying that they needed to and other nations needed to join. He even sort of kind of slyly slid in about how uh, people or uh, ones that are constantly calling for ceasefire every day, but yet are providing weapons of offensive, destruction to Israel, um, are being basically like misleading or they hypocritical of sorts or whatever, which was sort of a sly comment towards the U.S. I think. I mean, clearly we're the ones that are sending them all kinds of weapons, and yet on the same token, constantly saying we want a ceasefire, we want a ceasefire, we want a ceasefire. It doesn't really seem like it. Not when you're sending them shit tons of weapons. So basically, Macron was trying to say they were going to continue to provide them the stuff for like their defensive systems, but as far as any kind of offensive stuff, they weren't going to send anymore. So then you had Netanyahu get on, make this whole big fuss and speech directly towards Macron, and you know saying that he should be shameful at any nations that do this because they're on a seven front war, blah blah blah, um, and that they should be ashamed and of this that type of action or whatever, and that they all need to be band together and help Israel defend itself against all these extremists and blah blah blah. To the point, from what I understand, Macron turned around and kind of backed off of it. I mean, what does Israel have on everybody? What do they have on everybody that they're being allowed to just do whatever the hell they want? Or like apparently the guys at the Vanguard were kind of recently talking about how they have a suspicion that Israel is threatening to use like maybe their nuclear arsenal and stuff if people don't help them. Could be behind the scenes making that argument. Look, if you don't help us, we'll just use this. We'll blow everybody up. I mean, as rogue and out of control as they are, I almost at this point don't doubt it. Um, it's it's crazy. They're genocidal. They're uh, seeing red. I mean, or just like I said, don't care. They're out of control. Biden clearly isn't going to do anything. I'm starting to lose faith in Harris. I mean, I know she's kind of got herself pinned against the wall to some degree because she has to really go along. I mean, well, she doesn't have to, but she probably feels like she has to go along at least for now with the administration. But arguably, I'm not completely convinced that that's what she's doing. I'm almost wanting to, I almost feel like she actually is in agreement with some of it, which goes against what I recently thought, especially since her big part of uh, uh, her campaign group, the guy that's kind of over the foreign affairs kind of stuff, is vehemently anti-war, and she picked Tim Walz, who is also pretty anti-war. But I don't starting to just wonder if she that was really just a strategic pick to help try to pull progressives into the fold, because now she's going around also doing rallies with fucking um, Cheney, Liz Cheney. And I can only assume that that's because she's thinking that she can pull like defective Republicans in to vote for her. And I mean, she probably has a good chance. It's like she's hitting every possible angle that she can. I guess that they've calculated that that is more important than the anti-war vote, the you know the ceasefire vote, Palestinian and Muslim Americans, and that are and people in support of them, like me. I mean, this is apparently she just don't care. I don't know, or they've calculated that it doesn't matter. That they were better off trying to get these people than these people. I mean, ultimately, I feel that getting her in office is better than Trump, clearly, because if Trump was in office, this shit would already be, it would be a full blown war out there. Israel would just be going buck ass wild on everybody. But I don't know. And yeah, Jill Stein is fine if you want to vote for her as an anti, you know, uh, war vote. I mean, she does hold that clearly, but just understand that she has no chance. Just understand that that's solely what your vote is, and that's fine if you are okay with that and you're clear with that and do it. That's fine, you know. But just understand that that's all that vote is. It's just a straight, protest vote. because she has no chance in hell of getting any kind of anywhere close to being president or winning. And even though she acts and talks like and tells her, people that she has a chance, she doesn't. She just recently, even with the Breaking Points crew, had a talk about how, you could really look at it as a four-way split in a lot of states between Biden, Harris, her, and RFK, because RFK is still on a lot of the ballots. And, and that in a four-way split, she made some comment about all you really need is like 26% of the vote and you can win. So we have a chance. That was the most misleading shit I have heard come out of her mouth. Because for that 26%, it would have to be the absolute perfect setup for the Electoral College for that to be true, for that to actually happen. It had to be the most perfect setup of you actually getting 26%, meaning that's your percentage from the strongest Electoral College states like Pennsylvania, Colorado, Texas, like you would, California, like you would have to specifically hit all these, like you win all those states, the highest number of states to be able to actually win it with 26%. Knowing damn well she's not going to remotely come close to that. It was so extremely misleading. It would have to be the perfect scenario. It just, anyways. Because quite frankly, we just can't have Trump back in office. He is going to completely fuck it all up. Um. So yeah, that's what we're looking at. I don't. Still waiting on whatever is going to be decided by, our administration and Israel. Although they, recent, moments have not even cared to let us know before they attacked or did something. So it's really going to come down to whatever they decide to do. But I am almost positive, and I feel like if they truly make some sort of an attack on Iran, all hell is going to break loose. Iran has said that they will attack, and they will attack for destruction. And the breakdown, oh man, I wish I had that pulled up. I saw a breakdown not recently of Iranian military versus Israel military. Now, granted, that didn't include the U.S., but direct comparison between Iran and Israel is nowhere close. Iran would devastate Israel if it was a direct Israel to Iran fight. Now, with the U.S., of course, clearly that's a different story. But, Israel, acts and talks like they don't need anybody else. That was the one thing that Netanyahu also said to Macron. We don't need you. If you, we'll do this without you. But yet he's still begging and shaming them for not sending them stuff. Knowing damn well the only reason why they are anything that they are is because of all of the military help that they get from the entire Western civilization. It's ridiculous. They're genocidal, war crimes against humanity, women and children is despicable, and they need to be stopped. They are, Netanyahu is basically the new our age Hitler. He's out of his mind, and all to keep himself out of legal issues and in power. because he knows as soon as this is over with, he's gonna lose his position, and then all of his legal issues are going to come into play, and he's very well gonna be in, whatever, prison or something, as he should, just because of all that was going on. He should be in prison and arrested, along with all of his other members of his war cabinet. And now at this point, I would argue that even members of our administration should as well. So, and I'm not scared to say that. Blinken, Biden. I mean, uh, who's our other yeah, Jake Sullivan. Several of them. Anyways, that's all for this video. Thank you for your watching. If you got this far, comment ceasefire. How about that? And yeah, we'll see how things go. I'll give you an update next time something major happens, I guess. Probably devastating, but anyways, thank you very much. It's ClearTalk. Peace. I'm out.